everybody, and welcome to episode 37 of the Put It Bluntly podcast. I am Cameron, bearded as ever. I am joined by my less bearded co host, Wobbles,
You always have to bring the
and we
beard
have a
into it,
guest as
don't you?
well, as we usually do, Antonio, which we will talk to more in detail in a second. But yeah, it's been about a month since our last episode, I think. Wobbs, how are you?
It has. It's been good. We're busy at the minute. It's
Yeah,
getting towards the cricket season, so obviously little man and the wife are back to cricket training and practices, and yeah, lots of lugging around heavy bags of cricket equipment at the moment. And
which Haley does, I assume.
yeah, of course. And playing games actually. I've got back to playing games. It's been really nice. Like I took a bit of a break from playing as much outside of work, and actually been playing games again, which is always fun and nice and actually what I like to do. So yeah, it's been a really good
Yeah,
few weeks.
you've also done like a couple of speaking appearances
Uh,
recently.
yeah, I've been at events in London with Tencent and the University of Staffordshire, talking at an event there about an accessibility games jam.
It's on the
I was
BBC.
I was on the BBC. So yeah, it's been a busy.
Maybe the headline underneath the picture isn't the best, but you know.
Yeah, we can if Cameron can show that, we can show the headline. But yeah, let's
Yeah,
move on. And obviously we're joined by Antonio. He is I kind of want to say a pillar of the accessibility community. I don't know if he'll tell me off for saying that, but as long as I've been in the accessibility community, there's been Antonio as well. And he was, yeah,
that sounds like
kind
a
of
really subtle dig at calling him old, by the way.
no, not at all, not at
That's
all.
like the really. It's like it's been you since I can remember. No, yeah,
No, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to get you on, and I'm sorry it's taken so long. That's my first thing. But what have you been playing, Cam? Because I've been playing the obvious ones, which is FC, Crimson Desert, which we'll touch on later. Also, I actually really got into Blueprints after we did our
yeah. Ooh,
charity stream. Played that a few times as well,
yeah.
and obviously me and my friends actually completed Divinity this week too. Original Sins. We did a playthrough with four of us, and it took us about 80 hours. So yeah.
Yeah, you've been at
Plenty
it
of,
for a couple of weeks, yeah, a couple of days a week, and for a while
yeah,
now, isn't it?
we've been doing it since before Christmas, I think. So yeah, it's been a while. Really, I really enjoyed that game. Like really enjoyed that game. Struggled with it visually, I'm not gonna lie, but having friends to kind of help is always a
Yeah.
bonus. But what about yourself?
Well, you know me, I do play a lot of games. I've been playing on my Portal. I bought the PlayStation Portal just for Christmas, so I played a couple of games on that. I played Vemba, which is like I think it's like Indian cooking game with a story, which quite fun, quite good as well. Uh, I can actually cook in that as well. I play a bit of like Killzone Liberation, which was a
Ooh.
PSP exclusive, but it's obviously part of the classic range. Played the new WWE game, obviously. Got the
You've
platinum for Inscription, which is like a roguelike card game that
mhm.
quite challenging. And I've been doing a couple of reviews recently, which I might talk about later on.
Antonio, have you been? I know you're a busy man. Have you had the time to be playing games lately, or?
March has been very busy in the regard of reviews and playing games. I've been playing Resident Evil Requiem. I've been playing the recent release on early access, Slade Spy 2. Um, and that has been a bad choice on my side because it's the kind of game that sucks you in. So basically, you're like, I'm going to play 20 minutes just to clear my head, right? And then you're like, holy, there goes my money. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. You're like, okay, yes, one more room, and I save and I quit. No. I have also tried Crimson Desert, as you say, for just for reviewing. We can talk about that later, as you mentioned, and I will also say that I've been playing other cozy games that have been recommended by my friend and editor Nikki Harper Williams. It's called Is This Seat Taken? And it's a very cozy game. You just put the right people in the right places so they don't have problems with each other. Like I don't like people that smoke. I don't like children. I don't like. The funniest one that I found is there's this a stage in a cinema theater, and there's one guy that is, I want to eat popcorn, and I'm like, you don't have popcorn. And there's another guy on the right that has popcorn, so I put him there, and now they both are happy.
Because he's
But it's
stealing his.
kind of
Yeah, because he's
Yeah.
yeah.
exactly, which is funny. It's very funny.
No,
And
that's
there's another guy
brilliant.
that is like, I don't like to shower, and the other like is, I don't like strong odors. So I'm like, okay, you two go in different positions. So
Oh, that's
it's a
brilliant.
very funny game.
Yeah,
I'm
I like
very
to hear about
relaxing.
unique games like that.
Yeah, I do like something different and unique. I'm quite. I tend to stick to the same genres and hunks. I'm really a boring gamer actually, because I do tend to stick to the AAA titles or the same genres. I've got an addiction to sports games, as everyone knows. So yeah,
Yeah.
but
I'm sure games you play for work. Obviously, you can't say what, but surely some of them have been a bit
it
different to
has
what you.
opened my eyes to different
Yeah,
genres. Yeah, definitely. Because obviously with work, you don't get to pick what you play. You
yeah,
have to play it, and you have to play it for a large amount of time. So
yeah.
it's definitely opened my eyes to different genres and different like fields of gaming as well. So yeah, it's been good for me. And like we said, like you got me to try Blueprints and a couple of the others, and yeah, it's I am trying to expand my gaming experience to not just look at the AAA titles and the big releases.
That's a YouTube series. There's Wobbles on Indies. You play one new indie game.
Yeah, what else? I tried Dave the Diver, didn't I? Was it Dave? No,
Oh, Dredge.
Dredge. Couldn't get into Dredge, unfortunately. But I really did actually really like Blueprints. Blueprints was the shock for me at actually how much I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But I feel like people aren't here to listen to me and you, Cameron.
No, they've had enough from us.
Yeah, they've listened to us for 37 episodes and bonuses in between, so I don't think they want to listen to us anymore. So I think we should hand over to our guest. I'm going to introduce you as Antonio, and we're going to let you kind of start off and do the rest, if that's all right. We'd like to know kind of who is Antonio.
Well, Antonio is 49 years old, so yeah, I'm old, my friend. Kinda. So don't worry about that. I take my pride as my age with pride.
It's
I've
not
been
old, it's
playing.
vintage.
Yeah, it's fine. It means that I've played games that you haven't even
Yeah.
known of,
I've
and I
never, yeah.
experienced things that they're like, what? And like these guys, these youngsters, with their reggaeton and all that stuff. Please don't twerk on camera. Um, I don't know. I just started playing when I was younger. When I was a kid, when I was 5 years old, and I haven't stopped. I am right now the editor of Game Accessibility Nexus, a site that I founded just to make reviews of games because I wasn't gonna play that before that when it started. But then stuff happened because the person during gonna play it wasn't really that great, and I made my own site. And I made it with a couple of friends, Victor Branco and Alex, who were very close to me, and we have different disabilities. So it worked very well, and we have been changing editors over time. They have been like moving on with their lives or finding better opportunities in the work industry. For example, Morgan Baker was editor for us for a few months, and then she became the EA. I mean, first I think it was for our own studio. It was called um, The Gentleman or something like that, and then it was for Trio Gentlemen, and then it was for EA. So that was really huge, and I love Morgan to this. Her work is amazing. Victor is our low vision editor, and we've been doing reviews for the longest time, and we have the championship and everything. And right now, I am just doing the same. I'm writing reviews and writing interviews and trying to do some consultancy when I have time and energy and opportunities because it's the sort of more of us right now. Like when I came out into the scene, consultants were like, I remember Ian Hamilton was always like, is there someone that can cover this? Is there someone? He was like, now it's more like he has a lot of more options, and that's great. but you still get gigs here and there. A couple of games that I gave accessibility feedback for before the game release, during the process of creating the game, came out last year, and I was like really happy with what I saw. Like very impressed. Like the two of those games even made it to many awards and won awards, and that's very important for me because it recognizes the work that the studio put into making games more accessible or open to a greater audience. So that was great. And there are more coming this year. One in a couple of months, one in a few more, one next year. So I'm very happy. And another one that I don't know when this is coming, like maybe 1-2 years after that. So when I see those babies, because it's like your babies, when you take part in something, even if it's a small part, and you see where they take your feedback, it's so empowering, and it always feels like, because this kind of thing turns you out, when you see games over and over making the same barriers over and over, and at some point it starts to burn you out. But then something that you work on or something else releases, and it's great and it's amazing, and it fills your battery, and you're like, okay, one more year to go, and that's how it goes, yeah.
No. So how did you get into video games? That's always a good question because, like you said, you've obviously expressed you're a bit more experienced in the age department. So you've seen obviously the evolution of games from kind of day one to now. So how did you get into it as a child, maybe, and then into an adult? And
As a kid, I remember very vividly my first memory of a video game was playing. I was confused again. I don't know if it was Galaga or Galaxian. It was one of those two. And it was in an arcade machine. I was 3 years old. I was playing in a ice parlor with my father. They had the machine. He sit me on top of one of those high seats, and I would play the game. And then when I couldn't, I was getting tired of moving the stick because it was very very hard to move the stick and press the button at the same time. So we alternated, and I fell in love with games back then. And then I started playing games like Double Dragon on arcade machines, the Ninja Turtles, stuff like that. And then I finally got my first computer. It was a Spectrum, 128 kilobyte plus two, and that was when things changed for me. Because as a boy in school, I was doing great with my grades. I was doing great with my, other kids and other things. But after recess, there is nothing for you to do. Because back then, we're talking like the early 80s. What kids do after school is they go to the park and they run and they play football. Do you remember? This is Spain. And in Spain, you play football. You don't play soccer, you don't play basketball, you don't play baseball. You play football, yes or yes. At least back then. But I couldn't. I would fall to the ground and everything, so I felt isolated. But through video games, I discovered that my friends like video games. And I could invite them home, and we would play together. Like, there were times where 3 of us were playing on a single keyboard, playing Gauntlet and games like those, dude. And that required some real gymnastics. Okay.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And my love for games just grew from there because it allowed me to socialize. It allowed me to open myself to my friends and make jokes. I was very, very formal, very serious back then. And then I was like cracking jokes with them and having as much fun as possible. You get to know people also very well when you're playing games because you lower your shields, and you talk about daily life, family, how you really feel. Even for kids that are like all guys, because back then it was like kids that are guys don't talk about that. That's girly stuff, which is totally dumb. We really got to do that, and from there I just kept moving, and I wanted to be a game designer. There was no path for me to do it, so instead of that, I started coding for applications and stuff like that, databases. But I don't know, it changed my life. Like I always say, without gaming, I don't know what it would have been of me. And as an adult, it's the same. I get the same feeling, the same excitement, the same magic when you run a game for the first time and you start playing it and you love it and you don't experience barriers. I don't think that has no price. I don't mind spending any money in that. Well, now, but when you buy a game, it's not accessible. You feel awful.
Yeah.
Because I went through a really difficult time around when I was like 25 to 30 years old. My disability, which by the way, if you want, I can talk about it.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you're
feel free.
comfortable with
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So I have spinal muscular atrophy type 3, which means that my motor neurons um, get degenerated, they don't transmit the nervous signal to my muscles in the right way. So my muscles start to atrophy very fast because they're not moving. So when I was a kid, I couldn't run, but I could walk. I could do everything, and that's why video games felt so empowering to me. My aunt was basically not affected in terms of like, sure, I couldn't win a fight with anyone, but I wouldn't fight anyway. So with other problem, but I could do anything on my keyboard. I could play the games as well as my. I have no barriers. You need to press 5 keys. I do it. You need to do it fast. I do it. You need to do it for hours. I do it. But as you grow up, those abilities start to dwindle because the progression of disability is that you lose mobility, you lose strength, you lose speed, reflexes. And at that point, around 25, 30 years old, I began to feel isolated. I began to lose access to shooters, to fighting games that were absolutely core to my experience in gaming. I've been playing fighting games for, I don't know, forever. Like I've played from the original Mortal Kombat and the original Street Fighter before the second one came out, all the way to today. And I was losing that. I could beat my friends so hard in fighting games that I had to pull back and let them like, oof, that was a close one, man. You almost got me there. Oof, a couple more matches and you have me, And then they would get cocky and they would start like doing stuff that was like way too much, like, well, making taunts and all that stuff. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to take that's a show of disrespect, and I'm going to show you. And they're like, yeah, you need to try harder. And I was like, oh, you want me to see 100%? All right, next match.
Yeah.
And then I
I
would
think a lot of
blow
people have
them.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take off my gloves, I blow them other, and they will get pissed off, and they will like, I don't want to play this game anymore. This is trash. How is this possible? Well, of course, you play all day. And I'm like, no, man, it's man, I'm better than you and this because I practice, as you say, but you shouldn't be angry about that. I don't get angry when I lose. I think it's great. I prefer to lose a match and feel great about how it went than to win it against someone that is not on my level. But
Yeah.
I was facing those issues. I started to think about maybe gaming is not for me. Maybe games are doing stuff in this way because that's the way games have to be, and there's no room in place for me. But then I always was thinking, but at the same time, why don't all games have these features? Like for example, toggle aiming. Why can I not remap the keys whenever I want in any game? Why can I not save the game anytime? Why do they have to have these quick thing events? Because those are the things that keep me out of the game. It's not the game itself. I can shoot fine, but I cannot hold down the button all the time. And when I started to see games implementing those features, I knew that, well, I still have a place, but it's more limited, right? It's more like they're pushing me to a corner. And I remember very vividly, I was playing Assassin's Creed Syndicate because I love Assassin's Creed games. And there was a point in time where I had to do everything with Alt. I was using voice commands to open inventory because I couldn't do it any other way. I had to basically call for help for the quick time events. And there was a moment when I just like gave up. And I said, no more. I love the game, I love the characters, I love the stealth and the combat and everything, but it's not for me. And I don't have to struggle with this. I don't need to hurt my hands. So I quit the games. And then years later, I saw that Assassin's Creed Origins was coming out. I didn't pay attention. All I knew was that there was an it was in Egypt. That's all I knew from the poster. And then 2 days before release, I decided to check stream from one content creator. And he asked him like, hey, that's a really cool game. When you are shooting the arrows, do you need to hold down the button to aim? And he said, no, look, there's an option. And if I enable it, I don't have to hold because it was very tiring. It was a player without any ability, but he was using that feature. I'm like, okay. And can you remap your keys? He said, yeah. And I said, and do you need to hold down to lift your shield? He said, no, the same thing. You have an option to toggle. And suddenly I was like, I can play the game. I am back in the game. And I subscribed to that guy's channel for 1 month as a thank you. I ran to the store, bought the expensive edition that I could, and waited 2 days, 2 very long days to play that game. And when I finally got into the game and adjusted my options, and I started fighting, and I could beat the first guy and the second guy and all the other guys that they fed in the game. Oh boy, I almost cried because I felt back myself. I was recovering a part of myself, and I knew how powerful that was. That I thought I need to help people have this feeling, and that's why I started to making reviews and stuff like that. I wanted first to make a YouTube channel. That was awful. And suck at editing video.
So do I.
It's not
Yeah.
easy. It's not easy.
I went into writing. I connected with the people that are gonna play that, and that's how I got into it. And I've never thought about quitting again until when I had more health issues last year or so. But every time that I recover, I'm like, I'm not quitting. I'm going to do it less often. I'm going to do less. I'm going to write less extensive reviews because they are pretty long, to be honest. But I'm going to keep doing it because people need this information. Because I want people to feel like me. And I know this sounds like a cliche or something, but I bought back then a poster for behind my door of Assassin's Creed Origins. And every time I am playing a game, like many of these days, and I'm feeling down, I'm feeling that the progress is there, but it's very slow, that we're repeating the same mistakes, I look to my right and I say, that game changed my whole vision of the franchise, the studio, and everything. And it changed my life in what I do. I found my calling. So if there was hope for that game, there is hope for every game.
Yeah, because Assassin's Creed Origins, I really enjoyed playing it. It was I think it was the first RPG sort of one they brought out.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people who play the originals were on board, but I really enjoyed the change. I don't know about you. What did you play?
Yeah, I just like the Assassin's Creed games. They're just so good, and yeah, we just need to I think we need to say thank you to Assassin's Creed for creating Antonio that we know today. It is, yeah.
I always tell David Tisserand, like, David, you changed my life. It's like, no, you're too nice. You're too nice. And I'm like, no. Ian
Yeah.
connected me with you through Twitter, and that changed my life. The fact that I knowing that there were people working to make
Yeah.
games accessible for people like us, it changed my life. And everybody in my life tells me, Antonio, you have changed. You have a goal now. Like, I can see it in your eyes, in your voice. Before I would only talk about games and my life and this. Now I have an objective, a goal that is always moving, because that's how it goes. But my goal is just to help, even if it's a tiny bit. Every little step counts, as long as it's forward. If it's backwards, please no.
Yeah, we don't like
No more
backwards.
step
We don't like backwards. No.
No.
So how many years have you been doing Games Accessibility Nexus now then?
We started in September of, like, building it, September of 2019. So 7 years. It will be 7 years
Wow.
this year.
Yeah, there'll be a link in the dump below to all of like Game Accessibility Nexus and all of Antonio's previous work.
It's been a long time.
It's been a very long time. Obviously we got to mention something. This year you won the GA Conf Award for your amazing piece with Drew McCrory. I can never say the name right, McCrory. The Diablo 2nd anniversary interview. Look at the smile on his face. Yeah, it was a great piece. And what does it like to get a piece like that out? Like, because obviously getting an interview with someone, and then what's the process like for you? How long does it take to write a piece like that that's that good as you? And yeah, is there a process you follow? Is it kind of a, how do you do it? Because writing's a skill set in its own, but to be such a good writer as yourself, it's, how do you do that? Do you have processes, or do you just kind of go with it?
I think the first thing that I want to say is thank you for all your kind words. I really appreciate it. Honestly, I didn't think I have any chance. The opportunity came to make the interview. I was talking with someone from Blizzard about, how important the game was and how it was important to highlight the accessibility and the stuff for something else. And they were like, "Oh, you like Diablo?" I'm like, "Yeah." And the opportunity came. You would like to make an interview? And I said, "Are you kidding me? Like, when? Now? How? What do I dress? Like, I don't care. What do you ask?" And I got Drew there, and the people at Blizzard were amazing, organizing everything, like making sure that we found the right time for all of us, that it was going to be accessible. Even held with the fact that we recorded the interview. It was a live interview. It was not those send me the questions interview, which sometimes we do, but it's much better this way. And they recorded everything, and they sent me the recording, and they sent me the transcript, which helped a lot, because if I have to transcribe someone, it takes much longer, because exactly my problem is my hands. So it's basically like, it is funny, it's funny when you have the editor of a site with the person that it has the most difficulty writing. It's kind of unintuitive, but it is what it is. And what I wanted to capture was, what you see in the interview is what we talked. Like, I always, kept things out, like, the pre-talk and after the talk, just talking about the game. I mean, like, what would be cool for appeal for the barbarian? This, and this, just two guys who love a game talking about it. But at the same time, that was the same spirit with the interview. I made sure to make the questions in advance, to have them prepared so I could have some data and some solid questions. I spent like 1 week finding the right questions. And even after that, I always second question myself. But it came out so smooth that it was like unreal because it was a real conversation. I was asking the question, and then when I was doing follow-ups on the moment because I know the game, I love the game, I know everything that I've done, and I have the person that has been essential for all of that in front of me. So I want to get as much from him as I can. And Drew is extremely generous. He's a person that speaks very clearly. He understands the way that the game works. He understands the mechanics. He understands accessibility. So it's a conversation between two fans of the game and of accessibility. And when I published it, I was like, yeah, it feels good. And people are like, wow, man, that's great. And I'm like, well, thank you. I mean, it's good, but it's not great. Like, no, it's great. And I'm like, okay, dude, it's great. Don't punch me in the face, okay? It's great, whatever. But I never expected it. And this has probably been like the interview that meant more for me as a person and as a gamer, because I made some other interviews to great people like Brendan Sahan from Xbox about Gamescom and the accessibility features there, and other people in the industry, Kerry Waterton, who is amazing. Who doesn't love Kerry, right? She's amazing. Kerry Waterton is
Yeah,
the best in UK. I'm sorry, guys, it's the best in UK. Okay, and
I'll,
that's it.
I'll agree with you on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I don't know because it felt unreal to me to be writing a piece about a franchise that I've been playing since the first game came out. Like you see that shelf behind me. On the top of that shelf is the original box from the first Diablo game
Wow.
released back in 1990 something, and the second one too, by the way.
Probably older than me.
And yeah, it's I don't know. It was a dream come true.
It's
And on
yeah.
top of that, you get the award. Like that's a recognition from the community, and that's more important to me than anything else because I do things for this community. I do things to serve the people that love games and have problems to play games sometimes because of barriers that should not be there.
I don't even know how to follow up with that.
No, I simply just leave that breathe.
Yeah.
Just leave it breathe.
Should we? What's next for Antonio? That's the next one. I know you've got NDAs and things, so you can't really talk about it. But
Yeah.
we've obviously had quite an impressive few years. You did the piece, like you said, with Carrie and Rebellion and Sniper Elite, which was again a phenomenal piece of work. And then you've done the Diablo stuff with Drew. What is next for Antonio? Is it?
Antonio wants to leave a legacy of what to do right. I know my time is not going to end that soon in terms of like how much longer I'm going to be able to do this job. But I know that I'm reaching my limit in many cases, and I'm falling behind in schedules and all that stuff, and I don't like it. And I think it's a sign of it's time to start setting the basis for other people so they can start with some basic knowledge that I didn't have when I started into this. You come here to do reviews, and I remember when I was making my first review, it was for Anthem, for the closed beta, and I was like, I don't know how to make a review, so I just wing it, and that's how we went for it. But now I want people to understand these are the basics of how you do a review. This is the basics for mobility. This is what's the basic features that a game should have. This is what you have to look. I want to leave people with something that they can draw from and say, all right, now we can move forward. All right, we have got all this. I want to leave something that is useful to the people that come behind me. And I want to keep the site open to more voices. I always thought that Nexus outside of our editors like Victor, Nikki, and others that have come to work with us, has always been a place where people can give ideas. Hey, I have the idea for this article. Boom, you want it, you put it there. We cannot pay, unfortunately, we don't have any income. We don't have any sponsorship or anything. But if you want to put your knowledge, you want to express your opinion, you have a problem that you're facing in a game or in general, like the amazing article about speech impairment and stuttering that someone made for us, a woman. And I want all that to be there. I want to give my platform, our platform, sorry, to more people, make it a stage for their voice, because someone gave it once to me and it worked good for me. So I want it to work well for other people too.
I love that, and I do
Yeah.
honestly heartedly say that's incredible, because sometimes it is hard, as me and Cameron both know. It's not always easy to get started in accessibility, and first-hand experience, people like yourself have always been phenomenal at supporting others, even if it's likes and shares on social media. It's something so small, but it actually, when you're a consultant, you're starting off as an advocate or consultant, having someone like you there showing support via social media means the world, because it's kind of just helpful. And yeah, I think it's safe to say that you definitely are already making an impact for them that
Yeah,
are
definitely
following in
little
your
legacy
steps.
as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
Game
So yeah,
Accessibility Nexus will be brilliant,
yeah.
brilliant story. Yeah.
So no, it's yeah.
I think we all can support each other more. I don't believe in this is we are not IGN. We need to get the news first, and Kotaku is different. And I don't do clickbait. I just want people to have a platform where they get the information they want. And if people are like, I would like to have an article about this and this, ask. And I'm also doing research on a lot of stuff, a lot of pieces I have written and never published because they lack some polish. And that's one of my problems. I start writing a piece, have it almost finished, something gets into my head. I'm like, I have to write this right now. And then something else comes out, and you end up with
Yeah.
5, 6 pieces that you
Yep.
never put out, and they are good, but you want them to be perfect. And that is something that can be a problem too. But I just want to make the reviews now shorter, easier to read. And for example, for Crimson Destiny, I'm going to be making a very short review because I have faced so many barriers that at this point I am not in the, I would say mood, but it's not mood. It's more like I don't want to keep struggling against a game hours and hours and hours and fighting a game when I should be playing the game. I should be fighting the enemies and not
Yeah.
fighting the controls. So I have done that for a long time, and I will do for some games. But I have so many games there now that deserve a more in-depth review, and I cannot ask someone to be always next to me to assist me with the quick time events and all that stuff just to go deeper into the game. So I'm going to write a short review, and then I'm going to refund the game because I had to buy it, by the way. We didn't get a review copy. I bought it. That's not a problem. But I am only like 30, 40 minutes into the game, and I already stressed out and tired of so many barriers.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is that at the same time, you say, this game would be great without this or with this simple feature. It's
Yeah.
not like we are asking for 40 different features. It's like 3 or 4 basic features, and the game is completely different experience for it.
It lacks the basics, like you've said. It really does lack
Exactly.
the basics. It's the amount of buttonholes, the lack of input remapping, the complexity of the control schemes. As someone that's played it, I've played it for about 6 or 7 hours, and I obviously don't have mobility issues. I've only got the visual, but even I struggle with it because there is too many different buttonholes, different button combinations, and yeah,
It looks
a lot of
really
it
busy.
it's
Just from like
busy.
seeing
Yeah,
it looks really busy.
and like you said, it does feel it's a frustration for me as a gamer, or more as an accessibility consultant or specialist or an advocate and all of it, because it feels like it's a bit of a step back. And that's the frustration, because it's a AAA title that everyone's talking about, and
Hype, yeah,
with the
hype.
hype, you're like, why aren't you? You're blocking so many people from just not having the basics that's expected these days in video games, such as button remapping, such as toggle to hold, and things like that. So yeah, 100% agree with you on the frustration factors of that. And
So that's it, and then I'm going to jump into finishing my review for Resident Evil Requiem, latest part 2. If I manage to not play for 4 hours straight, because that game doesn't need it, but I love it. I cannot, and yeah, and then I want to do some stuff about gaming on mobile, because I've been playing on mobile with my voice only, and that requires a lot of attention and design and stuff like that. So I've been doing some research on that too, and I have another research that I'm going to start doing about AI, but that requires a lot of proper and careful design on how you do the tests, because I want to make sure that I am doing it correctly and that the information that I bring back is useful and accurate, because AI is many things, but accurate is not one of them.
I think we've made you speak for enough time there, Antonio. Even though I could sit and listen to you for another hour. Actually,
Yeah.
Your story is incredible, and your passion is, I think, second to none. Honestly, I think the way you speak about your journey and your accessibility journey and what gaming means to you, I don't think there's any better, in all honesty, that do it, because it's just incredible, your journey and how you speak about when you first were able to play games. It's like your Assassin's Creed story and things like that. That's I don't think I've ever heard anyone speak so passionately or well about their journey. So no, thank you so much. Again, we'll highlight everything in the dump below with regards to Antonio's gaming Nexus. We'll link the piece, and any other things he would like to link, we'll link his social media and things. But we'll take a short interlude, and we will be right back with patch notes, where we discuss the highs, the lows, the lefts, and the rights of this week's gaming news. And we're recording. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second segment of today's episode. We will start off with patch notes, and we are still joined by my co-host with the most, Cameron, and the ever incredible Antonio. I think we'll start off with Cameron's news, because I have a feeling me and Antonio are probably going to have a bit of a rant and rave about a certain game that was released this week for our segment. So if we start with Cameron, we'll then move over to Antonio, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So if you have autistic children, they should be happy this week. Thomas the Tank has got a game. Now, personally, like, I grew up watching Thomas, Ringo Starr. Ringo Starr weren't a train. He was a Beatle who narrated the series. Anyway, I'm getting off track. A game came out from Dovetail, which are the makers of Train Sim World, and it's basically people doing very unhinged things, including making the trains go at 140 miles an hour, derail off the tracks, all that fun stuff. And there's a lot of promise, I think. I think I've seen a lot of stuff from the community that is a bit unhinged, and sort of need unhinged games in this time. And I saw somebody post something, oh, that meme train from Skyrim has got a game. And I'm like, oh my god. The mod, Thomas mod.
No, the scary Thomas mod, yeah.
Yeah. That mod from Skyrim's got his own game. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I think
Anyway, that's
Thomas.
basically it. I got a review copy to review for Thumb Culture. They were a bit of annoying things, including you can't skip cutscenes, and if you fail 20 minutes into a mission, guess where you have to start.
Back at the start of the mission.
Yeah. So it's not perfect, but it's got nostalgia going for it, which is something. So yeah.
I think
That's-
my favorite thing I've seen was quite a big streamer was actually supposed to be streaming Crimson Desert. Streamed it for a little while, turned around to his chat and just went, "Sorry guys, I've got to go back to Thomas because I was having so much fun." And I was like, "That's what it's all about, right? That's gaming right there.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter the AAA biggest game has been released this week or whatever, and you're a big streamer that's got good views playing it. You're gonna go back and play Thomas. I'm fully here for it." That's what gaming's all
Yeah.
about.
Review might be out by now. If it is, I'll check a link below EMA socials. But yeah, that's my
So
story. Speaking of Crimson Desert, I think you two maybe had a few things. See,
Yeah.
who wants to begin?
I'm going to start with you, Antonio. Would you like to start, and I'll bounce off of your opinions?
I think the first thing that hit me is when you run the game and it showed you the adjust the contrast brightness, right? And you're like, okay, that's normal. What is not so normal is that you have a slider that you have to adjust only using WSD and space. So basically, from the moment that you run the game, if you're a mouse user and you cannot use WSD, you better call someone to do that for you. And after you proceed through those screens, then you can start using the mouse. But not before that.
I've not heard of that before.
I tried it yesterday after the patch and everything. Same issue. You run the game and it shows you that and it says, adjust the value with your WSD because whatever. And I'm like, okay,
That's an
now I
odd choice.
understand that line about this game is optimized for controller. I mean, yeah, it's super optimized for controller, but apparently not for this. Then you go into the menus. The menus are a desert, and it's not a pun. There's not much there. Like you can adjust the camera sensitivity and the camera speed, but there's some good stuff. I mean, you can. Let's talk about the good stuff first. It's going to be fast. You can decrease or completely remove the camera shake. Good for people like me with motion sickness. You can do the same for blur, which is also good. You can disable depth of field, which is also good. You have a lock on feature, which is good. What is not good is the way that it works by holding down a button, because apparently whoever made this game thought, you know what's great? Holding down a button. I can never get enough of that. So they put holding buttons for everything. You know?
Yeah.
You want to talk to a character, hold down a button. But wait, you need to hold down a button first so your character looks at them. And then you need to hold down another button so your character does the interaction for talking to them. Great stuff, great stuff. So yeah, not great. You cannot remap all the keys. And this is funny. When you go initially into the menu from the start of the game, like you run the game and you go to options to remap your keys. Like it's the first thing I do every time I go to a game. The option is not there. Then you start the game. When the game is started, you pause, you go back to the menu, and now you can remap your keys.
So console
and by the
hasn't.
way, you cannot remap the directional keys. You cannot remap WSD. So you can remap a lot of keys, but you can not remap the keys that you're going to be using the whole game for moving around.
Oh, that makes me angry. Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah.
And yeah, because on controller, on console, which I've been playing, you don't even have the option to remap anything.
Oh, that sucks too.
Yeah, so it's just inconsistencies. With the text, I don't want to sound like a cliche, but the text size is laughable. We just mentioned the subtitle large text option. Like, it's got the option to put the background on, which is good. Change the color of the subtitles, which is a good feature. And then you get to the size of it, and the large is other games small. It's got massive holes in its accessibility, like massive holes. It's not.
Yeah, seems they're going for aesthetic over
Yeah,
accessibility.
And
the UX design in general needs a lot of work, and I don't think they're going to do that, unfortunately.
the onboarding experience isn't great too. Also, when you start the initial sequence, it's not going to be a spoiler, by the way. You just go there, you have to talk to some characters, fighting and shoot, like in all type of these games. And you're fighting the enemies, which I've noticed that the only way that you can lose that fight if is you stay still for like 10 minutes doing nothing and letting 15 guys pummel you, because that's the way that this thing works. But so you can basically just beat them with one single tap, bam, bam, bam. But then sometimes it goes, now press control. And I'm like, for what? And then I repeated the thing again. And noticed, oh, wait, you want me to press control because that's the key for dodging. Wouldn't it be great if you had like, in order to dodge an enemy attack, press control. I like the size of the inputs. The size of the inputs on the screen is good. But you could just say that and not make me guess. And what happens now? Because if I couldn't press control, by the way, nothing happened. My character didn't dodge. Okay. The next one, same thing. Another prompt. And then I go to a sequence where it asks you to press the left and right mouse click buttons at the same time. I cannot do that because multiple inputs is one of the hardest things for people with mobility issues sometimes. A lot of time, by the way, like holds. And I had to ask someone to press one of the mouse buttons where I press the other one. And after that, the game goes on and goes on, and I'm like, nope, no toggles for aiming, no toggles for looking around, no toggles for nothing. You have to hold down buttons all the time. You have to do up to 3 button combinations at the same time in some moments. There's also no way to customize your gameplay. No, I'm not talking about the basic, because I know we always talk about we don't want an easy difficulty mode, but at least having some kind of balancing in the game would be great. And there's nothing, like nothing. It's like, here's the game, take it.
Yeah, it's definitely got that Souls-like approach to difficulty, I'm going to say, which is always controversial, which
it's not for the yellow paint gamers.
Don't. I saw that tweet, and the phrase "yellow paint gamers" is bizarre and just ridiculous. But I think we could sit here and rant about it. But my biggest takeaway, like I said, is actually for a AAA game to be released without such basic accessibility features, in my opinion, is a massive step back. And also, people's approach towards it, it's unreal. Like, I've just seen nothing but people being like, well, the game's not for you then. And it's like, hold on, no, actually, I really want to play this game, and I probably would like this game. All I need is to be able to remap my controls or change this one small feature. It's nothing to do with the difficulty or the size of the game or what the game's doing. It's actually being able to play the game. I can't play the game without these features. And yeah, I think people's approach to it has been very naive, and it's reminiscent, I think, sometimes of like Gamergate, where it's just, people's approach is what shocks me the most about it, is lack of understanding and lack of empathy.
Lack with empathy in the gaming community these days.
Yeah. exactly that. But
I don't know. It feels like a missed opportunity. I think there's something that worries me. I'm always happy when a studio does well with a game. I don't mind if I cannot play the game. I always think it's important for a studio to do good because you know the industry is in a very delicate situation. I don't want to see more studios going down. To be honest,
no.
we have some tragic news recently, and I don't want more of that. But at the same time, a part of me worries if this game does so well, will this make people think, oh, that's how you make a game that sells well? You see, that's the way that you make the control, that the way that you gain the gameplay, that the way that you make the UI, bare minimum. And the answer is no, that's not how you do it. You could have all that, and if you want to have like that tiny UI, that's fine. But let me adjust it to make it bigger. You want to play this way, you want to hold down several buttons, do it. But let me do it in another way. Just a few toggles here and there would alleviate so much pressure from the game.
Yeah.
And it would allow so many more people to play the game.
Yeah.
That is,
I think
I don't know, it's hard to me.
I saw someone mention somewhere, I can't remember where it was, that they were like, well, when this game gets compared to Fable, that is going to rumored to be released or will be released in autumn this year, they just said it as a game in general. I would actually like to sit there and probably look at it as a comparison, because with fingers crossed, seeing a title from Playground Games with their history of Forza, I'm hoping to see some good accessibility features and some accessibility like with meeting standards coming from Fable. So I think in 6 months' time, we could be sitting here going, actually, do you know what? If you look at Fable in comparison to Crimson Desert, it does this really well, does this really well, does this really well. And it's still a massive game, open world. You can do everything and anything in it, but you can do it with accessibility features as well. So I do think, fingers crossed, I have honestly got everything crossed for Fable.
I have a good feeling about it. That's all I'm going to say.
Shall we now move on to the Bluntly Vault? Cam, I remembered it. Are you proud?
Kind of.
Opening up the Bluntly Vault and chucking in something that Antonio doesn't like in the video games space. It can be anything. We have had from one guest small text sizes. We've had bad UR research practices. We've had everything and anything. So
Yeah.
I would definitely like to hear from Antonio and find out what he would like to get rid of. And I have a feeling buttonholds might be one of them.
Yes, it is one of them because it's also completely unnecessary for many mechanics, and it also goes against the game design. Let's say, for example, Resident Evil Requiem, right? Just to note, bash Christian Desert so hard, right? Enough batching. I don't believe in batching developers. I think the thing that really upsets me is that a lot of games seems to think that hold is the default action or the default way to do an action. Now, if you want that to be the default way, I don't have a problem with that, as long as you provide alternatives. Because you need to recognize that not everyone is going to be able to hold down a button and then press another one. Let's give a clear example. You're playing Resident Evil Requiem. You have very little ammo because that's how those games go, right?
Yep.
Very little ammo to raise the tension. Every fight is a dangerous one. So you need to aim for the head or for the specific part of the enemy. Now, if the player only can aim their gun by holding down the right mouse button or the trigger or anything, and then they need at the same time to press another button to shoot. First, people who cannot hold buttons, they cannot aim.
No,
That's
so
simple.
yeah.
And people who cannot hold down a button and press a different one at the same time, can't either. Now, if you allow someone to have a toggle feature for that for aiming, like many other games do, all you have to do is you do a simple click, you are aiming now, and then you shoot. One single finger is helping you do everything that the game asks you to do. Why don't we have that in more games? Is it a lack of awareness? Is it the fact that all Resident Evil games have been doing this for like 30 years now? It's their 30th anniversary. 30 years of games doing the same thing over and over. The games have evolved in many areas, like graphics and stuff like that. Why haven't the controls evolved? I played that game. I played Resident Evil 2 on the PlayStation when it came out. A friend brought it to my home, and I couldn't play that game specifically because I couldn't hold down the button to aim. That was 30 years ago, and we have the same issue right now. Why? Doesn't make sense. So please, whoever is listening to this, get rid of holds, or if you want to have holds, have them, but provide alternatives. There's people that require it to be a toggle, or maybe they require it to be a single press. And it's the same for, like save your game. Okay, now I need to hold down the button for 1 whole second just to save the game. Open this box. You need to hold down the button for 1 whole second or more to open just a box. Why not making a single tap?
Yeah, it's the tapping and hold button holds to interact do my head in. It annoys me as someone that doesn't require it as an accessibility feature.
Yeah.
I just find it frustrating. And yeah, but
option. Give the option.
Give us toggles. We like a toggle.
And I talked to developers about it. I'm like, is it difficult to implement this? And they said no. And they said, unless you are already made everything and it's hard coded and you would need to start like and doing at least a long list of noodles and stuff like that. No, it's not. I asked to developers specifically because of this, because I was fearing that it was going to happen. So I think it's something that can be done. It's been done in too many games already.
Once it's been done, it's the cat's out the bag. You can turn around and be like, oh, it can be done. Look, they've done it. That's what, yeah. So I think that's got, I'm up there with that. That could be one of my choices to be, yeah. But that brings us to the end of this week's recording. It has been a pleasure to be back recording with you, Cameron.
Thank you.
It's been too long, but also
I think the same.
Wow, Antonio's about to witness a falling out. The generational falling out of Wobbles and Cameron.
No, as always, yeah, it's been great.
And I think I would just like to also start off with a thank you to Antonio, not for just coming on to do this, but for being you, and just honestly, the work you do is incredible. I think it's something that everyone, I think, that starts in the accessibility community you're one of the people they can look up to because you do it all respectfully, professionally, and you are just I definitely would say you're one of the people that influenced me the most coming through, and you are an amazing person, and I'm annoyed it's taken us this long to get you on.
And I don't have words, to be honest. I'm blushing. I don't know if the camera is catching it, but I'm blushing because I don't.
No, you don't. You honestly, you don't have to say anything. But thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure to have you on, and we will.
It's been a pleasure to be with you guys.
Yeah,
you're amazing too, and you do so many good stuff too.
We try.
We do try.
So, ladies and gentlemen, and listeners, that brings us to the end of this week's episode. I've been the Wobbly Gamer.
I've been Cameron.
Done. That's the perfect ending.